Wamuchomba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to give my opinion on the debate concerning the budget estimates that have been tabled. And I want to, first of all, thank the young people of Kenya, because it is because of them that they have given us an opportunity to review these budget estimates and relook at areas where we can be able to reduce our expenditure and plan our money economy in a better way. Mr. Speaker, whereas I support the intentional move by the Budget Committee to allocate more funds in areas where the young people of Kenya may benefit through jobs creation, and more specifically when I talk about job creation, I'm talking about the value addition areas and processing that has been given more attention and allocated more money. The school feeding program that has been able to be given 3 billion shillings. That is a positive move, Mr. Speaker. The intentional move to add more resources to TVETs and Kenya medical training colleges so that we can accommodate more of our young people into the training. And the intentional move to add more money in value addition projects like the ultra-modern fish processing plant in Liwatoni, and many other value addition ventures that has received a positive increment on money allocation. Mr. Speaker, whereas I appreciate that the young people of Kenya have been given an opportunity to get more busy with such ventures in value addition, I'm quite concerned because the current president, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, when he was a deputy president, has pledged many times that he's going to provide milk coolers to most of our farmers in our villages, Githongori constituency being one. Mr. Speaker, his promises has never been fulfilled. And we do understand it is because maybe there was limitation on funding. So the fact that this proposal has allocated more money into buying of milk coolers in this country to a tune of 2 billion is a positive move for me. Not because the farmers did not have the coolers, but because more coolers will create more opportunities for our farmers and across the value chain to create jobs even for the young people. But Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that the chairman of the Budget Committee is in the House. And I would want to have some clarification why the money that was allocated for Coffee Cherry Fund has been reduced with 1 billion shillings. This is something that I have been raising since the beginning of this year. We were promised that we are going to get 4 billion shillings for Cherry Fund. Later on, we were promised that our farmers, the coffee farmers, are going to be given 6 billion shillings to clear our debts. But according to the document that I have, Madam Speaker, vote number 1173 says that the Ministry of Cooperative and Development Management is going to lose 1 billion shillings recurrent fund from Coffee Cherry Fund. Mr. Speaker, I would want a clarification on why Coffee Cherry Fund is being reduced from whatever was allocated initially to losing 1 billion shillings. Is it that our farmers have not absorbed the money? Is it that they have realized that our farmers have had enough of Cherry Fund? Now they have to reduce to 1 billion, from 2 billion shillings to 1 billion? Or what is this that has informed the Budget Committee to reduce Cherry Fund to this level? Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I am a farmer. Sorry. I am a farmer. And I can tell you that not all farmers have received Cherry Fund as we speak. Some of the farmers requested for 80 shillings per kilo of Cherry Fund. They only received 20 shillings. There are some factories, as we speak, who requested for Cherry Fund and have never received this money. So when we come now and revise the budget and reduce this money in the excuse of that we are adding more coolers, does it mean that milk farmers who are receiving coolers are more important than coffee farmers? This is a question that I would want to get answer from the relevant committee, because it is not right for us to be playing public relations with our farmers. It is not right for us to be promising our farmers something on television, but when it comes to actual figures, we play around with figures. So I will not support this. until I'm clear why coffee farmers are getting a reduction. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Chair Budget, you'll note the concerns of members. You can respond to them during reply. Dr. Ochanda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support the motion on the basis of the timing, in terms of the time when it is falling in. Madam Speaker, this appropriation is coming in at a time when precedents have been created. We have basically created precedents in this country. A precedent, and number one, that a finance bill has been rejected nearly as the first time in the history of this country. Number two, we are doing this against a backdrop that members were very elated about the appropriation that we had done last, before we did the finance bill, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I look through this supplementary appropriations, my view is that if we had time, where we are not able to get the 400 billion shillings, Madam Speaker, if we had time, I believe we are able to get this money. Number one is the amount of what is appearing as vote and programs that are placed in different departments, but are getting monies differently. If we went ahead, particularly to synchronize in terms of, for example, if you look at the Department of Immigration, there are things that are talking about population services. Population services are in immigration. Then we also have issues to do with population in planning. I want to believe that if these things were merged and were looked at as one, we would have saved quite a bit of money here. The same goes to where we are having Department of Irrigation, we are having Department of Water. I think these are areas where, if we looked at thoroughly, there are areas where we can make savings. But beyond that, Madam Speaker, since all this began, the head of state has indicated scrapping of more than 40 parastatals. These parastatals are already still here in the supplementaries with allocations through the departments that they fall. So, Madam Speaker, if we looked through this, if we had time, and I think this is exactly what the Budget and Appropriation Committee needs to look at, the issue of cleaning duplications and the issue of costing and marrying together the monies that were supposed to be going to the parastatals that are being scrapped, then if we put them together, Madam Speaker, I believe we are able to get the 400 billion that we are looking for by cutting some of these areas in terms of the budgets that were necessary. The other thing is the whole issue of pilferage. If we are able to get to close all avenues of pilferage, all avenues where we are getting issues of corruption, particularly today the President has pronounced himself on the issue of procurement. I think if we closed all these avenues, Madam Speaker, I believe and I strongly believe that we are able to get the 400 billion shillings that are making us get to this arrangement where there's no money for development, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
Member for Manyata, Honorable John Gitonga, are you on this one? If not, I'll give to member for Sirisia. If not there, I'll give the member for Tetu. Honorable Geoffrey Mwangi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute and support this supplementary budget. Madam Speaker, we are in a very, very interesting time as a country, because for the first time, matters economy, matters governance are taking center stage in this country, something that we have not had in a long, long time. And it is good that we are relooking at our expenditure. It is good that we are relooking at how we raise funds. It is good that we are looking at how we finance the governance of this country. Madam Speaker, I would like to start by calling out a Treasury. Because, Madam Speaker, partly some of the problems that we have found ourselves in may have been the lack of thoroughness that we have exhibited in how we have prepared the different financial documents, be they budgets or be they appropriation. And, Madam Speaker, it is important, without preempting debate on the individuals who have been selected to take charge of Treasury, to say that it is important that we get the best brains at Treasury. So that some of the challenges that we have gone on with the documents that have been rejected by the public and have put us in the spot as members of this House at least we can be able to perform much, much better in future in terms of our budget and appropriations preparation. Madam Speaker, having said that, even as we try to exercise different austerity measures, even as we try to juggle with the minimal resources that we have and move them around to be able to satisfy the different needs in our country, it is important, Madam Speaker, that we continue and maybe even up the ante on the war on corruption and the war on wastage. Because, Madam Speaker, sometimes we talk about austerity. Then we realize the only austerity we achieved is by cutting important programs or reducing funding to important programs. But the money that gets lost through wastage, the money that gets lost through corruption remains the same. And as some of the people who have said here, we not only need to look at the national government, but we also need to look further down into the county government. Because if we do not win the war on corruption, we will